Most people in their 20s are focused on earning more, getting promoted, finding a better paying job. That thinking makes sense. Income matters. But there's one variable that quietly shapes financial outcomes more than income level alone, and most people never consciously think about it. That variable is your savings rate. Your savings rate is the percentage of your take-home income that you keep each month instead of spending. That's the whole definition. If you bring home $4,000 a month and spend $3,600, your savings rate is 10%. If you spend $3,200, it's 20%. Simple math, but most people have never calculated it. According to data from the U.S. Bureau of Economic Analysis, the personal savings rate for Americans has consistently hovered below 5% in recent years, and a significant portion of people save nothing at all. Here's why savings rate matters more than income level. Take two people. Person A earns $80,000 a year and saves 5% of it. That's $4,000 saved per year. Person B earns $55,000 and saves 20%. That's $11,000 saved per year. Person B is building wealth nearly 3 times faster despite earning $25,000 less. The gap between them isn't income, it's behavior. Income sets your ceiling. Savings rate determines how much of that ceiling you actually capture. A high income with a low savings rate produces a comfortable lifestyle. It doesn't reliably produce wealth. Now here's where savings rate gets more powerful than most people expect. A higher savings rate doesn't just mean you're storing more money. It does 3 things at the same time. First, it builds investable capital faster. More money going into the market means more money compounding. Second, it keeps your cost of living lean. A person spending $2,500 a month needs far less money to sustain their life long-term than someone spending $4,500. Third, it shortens the time needed to reach financial independence because you're accumulating more while simultaneously needing less. Put numbers to it. 2 people earn the same income. One saves 10%, one saves 25%. Both invest everything they save at a 7% average annual return. Over 20 years, the person saving 25% doesn't just end up with 2.5 times more money. They end up with significantly more because the larger amounts compound earlier and for longer. The math accelerates the gap every year. This is why savings rate is the lever. It's not the only lever, but it's the one with the most downstream impact. Most people get a raise and adjust their lifestyle upward immediately. New apartment, nicer car, more subscriptions, more restaurants. Each individual choice feels reasonable. Together, they absorb the entire raise. 6 months later, the take-home is higher, but the savings rate is exactly where it was, or lower. This is called lifestyle inflation, and it happens mostly without a single conscious decision. It's not one big choice, it's 30 small ones. The mechanism to stop it is specific. When your income goes up, savings rate goes up first. Before the new apartment, before the car upgrade, the first place the extra money goes is into savings. Even if only half the raise goes to savings and the other half goes to lifestyle, the savings rate still improves. The order of operations matters. A lot of people assume a high savings rate requires a high income. That's not accurate, but it does require intentionality at every income level. At under $40,000 a year, saving 5 to 10% is meaningful. It may not feel like much, but it builds the habit, and it builds real capital over time. Between $40,000 and $70,000, saving 15 to 20% is achievable with deliberate spending choices. It's not easy, but it's not theoretical either. Above $70,000, saving 20 to 30% is realistic if lifestyle hasn't expanded to match the income. The goal at 22 is not to hit 30%. The goal is to know your current rate and move it upward deliberately, a few percent a year. That's a realistic trajectory, and it compounds over time just like money does. Calculating your savings rate takes about 10 minutes. Step 1. Find your actual monthly take-home income after taxes. Not your salary, what actually hits your bank account. Step 2. Add up everything you spent last month. Your bank statement does most of this work. Step 3. Subtract your spending from your income. Divide what's left by your income. Multiply by 100. That's your savings rate. Do this once a month. Most people who run this number for the first time are surprised. Usually, the number is lower than they assumed. That's not a failure. That's information. You can't improve a number you're not tracking. One more reason your 20s are the highest leverage decade for this. A dollar saved and invested at 23 has roughly 40 years to grow before retirement. A dollar saved at 33 has 30. At a 7% annual return, that 10-year difference means the earlier dollar ends up worth approximately double the later one by retirement age. That's not motivational framing, that's arithmetic. Time in the market is determined by when you start, and when you start is determined by when you have capital to invest, and that's determined by your savings rate. There's also a behavioral dimension to this. People who build a 20% savings rate at 25 rarely fall below 15% at 35. The habit sets a floor. It becomes the default. The savings rate you establish in your 20s doesn't just affect the money you accumulate, it shapes the financial identity you carry into every decade after. You don't need to earn more to improve your savings rate, though earning more does help. The decision that shapes everything else is what percentage of what you already earn you consistently keep. That number is worth knowing, it's worth tracking, and it's worth moving upward, even a few percent at a time. If this was useful, subscribe. There's more coming on the specific habits and systems that make a higher savings rate sustainable long-term.